Imagine relying on an outdated resource to power our modern world, one that poisons our air and water and exacerbates extreme weather. That resource is coal, and its time is up. Globally, coal provides around 35% of our electricity. Coal combustion produces double the carbon dioxide emissions of natural gas per unit of energy produced. A typical coal plant releases millions of tons of CO2 annually. But this percentage is shrinking fast. A decade ago, coal generated electricity production was closer to 40%. Coal also plays a critical role in making steel. In steelmaking, a special type of coal is heated to create a substance called coke, which fuels the incredibly high temperatures needed to turn iron ore into steel. However, this process is highly polluting and a major contributor to climate change. Researchers are working on alternatives to reduce dependency on this type of coal. So, why is coal such a problem? Coal is the single largest source of climate changing carbon dioxide emissions, fueling extreme weather, rising sea levels, and disrupting ecosystems. When it's burned, it releases vast amounts of carbon dioxide, the main culprit behind global warming. Burning coal also releases a cocktail of harmful pollutants into the air and water. The effect: damage to forests and natural ecosystems. Then, if you live near a major metropolitan area, you've probably noticed smog. It's caused by nitrogen oxide from coal burning. Beyond that, mercury from coal plants enters our waterways and food chain, which are toxic to humans and wildlife. To prevent the worst impacts of climate change, scientists say that we must limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Coal emissions are the single biggest obstacle to achieving this target. Many of the extreme weather events the world is currently experiencing are driven by climate change. Take, for example, the devastating floods that occurred in Pakistan between June 2022 and October of the same year. Over 1,700 people were killed, nearly 8 million more were displaced, and the cost of the disaster was around 30 billion US dollars. Coal-driven global warming makes events like that one more frequent and intense. So, if coal is so harmful, why are countries so reliant on it? Coal has historically been cheap and abundant. It's easy to store and seen as a reliable source of energy. Coal power plants and infrastructure already exist in many countries around the world. In terms of consumption, China is the clear outlier. It consumes more than half of the world's coal, far exceeding its share of global population for energy needs. This is due to a combination of factors. The world's number 2 largest economy has limited domestic reserves of oil and natural gas, making coal historically the most accessible fossil fuel. Recently, the G7 group of nations committed to phasing out coal power by the mid-2030s. However, the agreement allows some flexibility for countries heavily dependent on coal, which raises questions about how firm the commitment actually is. While not the biggest emitter of CO2 in terms of total tonnage, Japan's reliance on coal is high relative to its developed nation status. This is due to energy security concerns, as the island nation of 123 million people has limited natural energy resources. therefore making it highly reliant on energy imports. And while we're on the topic of being reliant, we'd like to rely on your support. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you really like what we do here, check out our Patreon page. There you can make a financial contribution to support this channel. By doing that, that helps us to plan and deliver more great content, as well as give us the types of resources that we need to deliver this content. As always, thanks for watching and thanks for your support. Japan's dependence on foreign oil and gas makes it vulnerable to price fluctuations and geopolitical instability. Following the Fukushima nuclear disaster in 2011, public distrust of Japan's use of nuclear power surged. Coal filled the gap left by reduced nuclear power generation. Furthermore, Japan has limited landmass compared to its population, making deployment of large-scale solar and wind farms challenging. South Africa is also another standout in coal consumption. The country's electricity grid heavily relies on coal-fired power plants. Vast reserves of high-quality, low-emission coal make it a more attractive option for the country compared to dirtier varieties used elsewhere. Renewable energy development is underway in the country, but coal remains dominant. And what about the United States? Well, the world's largest economy has significantly reduced its coal dependency in recent years, thanks to abundant natural gas and rapidly growing renewable energy sectors. But it's not all good news from the States. Recent energy price spikes have slowed the transition away from coal. Political shifts could also further slow the transition away. Germany has a strong commitment to transitioning away from coal and is actively phasing it out. However, the Ukraine war has caused an increase in coal consumption in the European Union's largest economy, as well as other parts of the EU, due to the bloc's push to shift away from reliance on natural gas supplies from Russia. The economics of energy are rapidly shifting. In many regions, building a new solar or wind farm is now cheaper than operating an existing coal plant. This shift is driven by both technological advancements, which are making renewables more efficient, and policy decisions that support clean energy. Governments can promote this transition with incentives like renewable energy subsidies, carbon taxes that make coal consumption less competitive, and investments in power grid infrastructure to handle increasing renewable energy resources. Breakthroughs in battery technology, pumped hydro storage, and other methods are making it possible to store vast amounts of renewable energy for when the sun isn't shining or the wind isn't blowing. This allows for a secure and resilient energy supply. While it is clear that there needs to be a shift away from coal, the shift isn't without its risks. Coal-dependent communities need support to minimize the impact of coal-related job losses, retrain workers, attract new industries, and build resilient economies. Failure to plan for this leads to social and political resistance to the energy transition. Also, along the political front, there are powerful industries globally pushing for continued use of coal. Take Japan, for example. It is the only G7 country without a coal phase-out plan. Japan is a major investor in overseas coal projects, especially in Southeast Asia. This financial conflict of interest makes a swift domestic phase-out politically and economically complicated for the country. While the shift to renewable energy sounds great, it comes at a significant cost. Countries and municipalities are faced with investing heavily in new clean energy infrastructure to achieve the energy transition. Coal built the modern world, and transitioning away from it won't be simple. It's going to take policy change, massive investment, and some very difficult choices. But if the world is serious about climate action, protecting the health of humans, animals, and nature, there's no other choice. As always, thanks for watching, and for more from the definitive source for clean energy, e-mobility, and sustainability, make sure that you like and that you're subscribed to cleanearth.io.